Hey there, friends. Today, we're going on an awesome adventure behind the scenes of a super cool show called Gunsmoke. It's like opening a secret door to see how things really went down when the cameras weren't rolling. Imagine getting a backstage pass to your favorite concert. That's what we're doing, but with a TV show. But before starting video, please show your support and hit the subscribe button for more interesting videos. Now let me tell you, Gunsmoke is no ordinary show. It's like the superhero of TV shows, iconic and loved by so many people. Just saying the name Gunsmoke brings a twinkle to the eyes of those who know it. So buckle up, because we're about to dive into the magic that made Gunsmoke so special. Let's go. Overview of Gunsmoke's success. Picture this. From way back in 1955 to 1975, Gunsmoke ruled the TV world. It was like a TV wizard, grabbing everyone's attention and never letting go. People couldn't wait to tune in every week and follow the adventures of a guy named Marshall Matt Dillon. But here's the cool part. Gunsmoke wasn't afraid of change. It started as a radio show, then did this magical switch to become a black and white TV series. Imagine going from listening to a story on the radio to actually seeing it on a TV screen. That's like turning a book into a movie, right? Gunsmoke did that, and it was a big deal. Now let's talk about Matt Dillon, the hero of Gunsmoke. Did you know they originally thought about having the legendary John Wayne play this hero? Imagine that. But things changed, and they went with James Arness, who did an awesome job. Oh, and the show had a bit of a makeover too, going from a half-hour to a full-hour format. It was like Gunsmoke grew up and became even more exciting. Overview of Gunsmoke's success. A tale of timeless triumph. All right, buckle up, because we're about to embark on a journey through the incredible success story of Gunsmoke. A journey that spans 2 decades, from 1955 to 1975. Imagine this as a time machine taking us back to the golden era of television, where Gunsmoke stood tall, capturing hearts and making history. The marvelous journey, 1955 to 1975. Back in the mid-20th century, when TVs were just finding their place in living rooms, Gunsmoke burst onto the scene. It wasn't just a show, it was a phenomenon, a cultural icon that etched its name in the TV history books. For a whopping 20 years, Gunsmoke kept audiences glued to their screens, week after week. Adaptability, the secret weapon. Now, what's fascinating about Gunsmoke is its ability to roll with the punches. It started as a radio show, like a bedtime story you listen to with your eyes closed. But then, someone had a genius idea. Why not bring it to life on a TV screen? And just like that, Gunsmoke transformed from a voice in the airwaves to a black and white spectacle on television. Imagine the excitement of seeing your favorite characters come to life, the dusty streets of Dodge City stretching out before you. Gunsmoke wasn't afraid of change, it embraced it. The show evolved, like a chameleon changing its colors, to stay fresh and exciting. Radio to television, a bold leap. Let's rewind a bit to the early days. Gunsmoke was born as a radio drama in 1952, spinning tales of the Wild West straight into people's imaginations. But then, the big move happened. The producers, with a glint of adventure in their eyes, decided to make Gunsmoke a TV series. The transition wasn't just a switch in mediums, it was a leap into the unknown. Going from a half-hour radio show to a full-hour TV series was like turning a short story into an epic novel. It was a bold move that paid off big time. Gunsmoke became a visual feast, and viewers were hooked. Embracing change, format, and technology. Now imagine this. You're used to watching your favorite show in black and white, and suddenly, bam, it bursts into color. That's what Gunsmoke did. It adapted to new technologies, embracing color television like a cowboy putting on a shiny new pair of boots. And let's not forget the format changes. Gunsmoke wasn't content with being ordinary. It went from radio to TV, from half-hour to full-hour episodes, and from black and white to color. It was like watching a caterpillar turn into a butterfly right before your eyes. The show's creators were like pioneers exploring uncharted territories. They knew that to stay on top, they had to ride the waves of change. And ride they did, creating a show that wasn't just a spectator. It was a participant in the evolution of television itself. Casting stories, picking stars, and the magic of TV. All right, let's dive into the fascinating world of how Gunsmoke chose its stars and the behind-the-scenes magic that made it all happen. Picture this like choosing your team for a game. Only this game involves riding horses, facing outlaws, and being the hero of the Wild West. 1. The John Wayne What If. Now, imagine Gunsmoke with John Wayne as the lead, the legendary cowboy himself stepping into the shoes of Matt Dillon. It sounds like a dream, right? Well, it almost happened. John Wayne, the big name in the cowboy world, was the initial consideration for the role. Can you imagine the Duke riding through Dodge City? But as fate would have it, schedules got in the way. John Wayne, busy with his adventures on the big screen, couldn't lasso the opportunity. Even though he couldn't ride alongside Gunsmoke, he gave it a nod of approval. It's like having the coach say, "You got this, team." 2. The power of sponsorships. L&M cigarettes in the spotlight. Now let's talk about sponsors, the folks who help make our favorite shows possible. In the early days, Gunsmoke had a special partner in crime, L&M cigarettes. They weren't just a sponsor. They were like the friends who cheer you on during a game. L&M cigarettes played a big role, almost like a supporting character. Their influence was everywhere, from the scenes to the characters. Imagine Matt Dillon lighting up a smoke after a showdown. It was as much a part of the show as the tumbleweeds in Dodge City. 3. The switcheroo, from William Conrad to James Arness. Now let's talk about a real game changer, the switch from one cowboy to another. William Conrad initially rode into the sunset as Matt Dillon during the radio days. But when Gunsmoke made the jump to TV, it was time for a change. Here's where James Arness saddles up. The producers thought James had the right look, the cowboy charm, the squinty eyes, and that rugged toughness you expect in the Wild West. It's like swapping players in a game, hoping the new guy brings a fresh energy to the team. James Arness took the reins, and just like that, a new era of Gunsmoke began. The transition wasn't just about changing faces, it was about keeping the spirit of the show alive. And boy, did James Arness ride that trail like a true cowboy. Discovering secrets, characters unwrapped, and changing faces. Welcome, folks. Today, we're unlocking some hidden treasures from Gunsmoke, digging into the characters who kept us glued to the screen. It's like finding a treasure map and following it to uncover gold. So, put on your cowboy hats, and let's ride into the heart of Dodge City. 1. The mystery of Doc unraveled. First up, Doc Adams, a familiar face in Dodge City, right? Now, imagine this. After 16 seasons, we finally got to know Doc's full name. It's like finding out a friend's middle name after years of knowing them. Doc's real name is Galen Adams. Bet you didn't see that coming, did you? The folks behind Gunsmoke decided it was time to spill the beans. Maybe they thought, let's give Doc a proper introduction. So in one episode, they just dropped the bomb. Meet Galen Adams. It's like a surprise party, but for a name. 2. The Tale of Madame Kitty Russell. Now, let's talk about someone who added a touch of glamour to Dodge, Madame Kitty Russell. But here's the twist. Her story changed from the radio to the television. It's like reading a book and finding out the movie has a different ending. In the radio version, Madame Kitty was a star. She had her moments in the spotlight, shining bright. But when the TV lights turned on, something changed. The big shots up there decided they wanted Kitty to be a bit more low-key, a bit more family-friendly. So they turned down the glamour dial, just a tad. 3. Politics in Dodge. Opening scene shakeup. Now, let's chat about how the winds of politics blew through Dodge City. You know how the show always started with Matt Dillon in a gunfight? Well, that changed, and it's all because of what was happening in the real world. It's like when the weather changes your plans for a picnic. Back in the day, every episode began with Matt Dillon facing off in a gunfight. But as time went on, people started saying, hey, maybe less shooting on TV is a good idea. The folks making Gunsmoke nodded and thought, let's shake things up. So the opening scenes evolved. No more daily showdowns. They switched to different scenes. More talking, less shooting. It's like turning the volume down on a rowdy party. Why? Because the world outside was changing, and Gunsmoke wanted to keep up. The legacy of Gunsmoke, the show that left a mark as big as a cowboy boot in the world of TV. Think of it like comparing the coolest kids in the class, Gunsmoke and The Simpsons, ready for the showdown. 1. Gunsmoke versus The Simpsons. Who wore the crown? Picture this, The Simpsons and Gunsmoke, both big shots in TV history. Now, who broke the record for the most episodes? It was like a race, you know. The Simpsons snagged the crown in 2018, but guess what? Gunsmoke had its moment in the sun, racking up a whopping 635 episodes. Sure, The Simpsons strutted into the spotlight after 20 seasons, but Gunsmoke had already laid down the path, leaving a trail of 635 episodes for others to follow. It's like being the trailblazer in a forest of TV shows. The impact? Huge. 2. A wild ending for Gunsmoke. Now let's talk about how Gunsmoke took a bow. Can you imagine your favorite show ending without a grand final, like a party with no cake? Well, that's what happened in 1975. Gunsmoke just said, adios, folks, without the big farewell. You see, in today's world, shows plan these grand goodbyes with confetti and tears. But back then, Gunsmoke said, let's keep 'em guessing. No big fanfare, just a quiet exit. It's like your friend leaving the party without saying goodbye. Surprising, right? So, there you have it, amigos. Gunsmoke might not have thrown the biggest farewell bash, but it sure left a lasting mark. If you ever find yourself in a TV history conversation, just drop the fact that Gunsmoke once ruled the screen with 635 episodes. That's the kind of legacy that echoes through the ages. Drama behind the camera, Milburn Stone, and James Arness. Hey folks, today's story is like peeking behind the curtain at a magic show. We're diving into the behind-the-scenes drama of Gunsmoke. So, picture this. Milburn Stone, who played Doc, and James Arness, our heroic Matt Dillon. They had a real-life adventure too. Not so friendly beginnings. When they first teamed up, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. Nope, Milburn Stone didn't exactly throw a welcome party for James Arness. He thought, who's this guy messing up my show? There were times Stone was like, is this dude serious? Because Arness had a habit of being fashionably late. Imagine waiting for your friend who's never on time. Frustrating, right? A clash and a curveball. One day, Stone had enough. He looked Arness in the eyes and said, buddy, this isn't cool. No more being fashionably late. It was like a showdown in the Wild West. But instead of guns, they used words. And guess what? Arness didn't fight back. Nope, he surprised Stone by saying, you're right. Unexpected, right? Turning foes into friends. Believe it or not, this showdown became a turning point. Stone, the serious one, and Arness, the laid-back guy, found common ground. It was like a grumpy cat turning into a big cuddly bear. Stone later said, Arness is a great big wonderful cub bear who knew a little drama could lead to a friendship stronger than a cowboy's handshake. The dedication duo, Arness and Stone. Now, let's switch gears. Gunsmoke wouldn't be Gunsmoke without James Arness and Milburn Stone. They were like the dynamic duo, always showing up, always ready for action. The attendance stars. Imagine this. Arness as Matt Dillon and Stone as Doc. These guys were like clockwork, appearing in almost every episode. Arness, with his cowboy hat always in place, showed real commitment. Stone, despite his grumpy doc moments, was just as dedicated. Missing an episode, unthinkable. Arthritis versus action. But life wasn't all easy for Arness. Arthritis, a real pain in the joints, decided to join the Gunsmoke party. Arness had to adapt, like a cowboy adjusting to a new saddle. They squeezed all of Arness's scenes into one day, giving him a week to rest. Imagine that. A whole week of cowboy R&R. Glenn Strange, the silent hero. Now let's tip our hats to Glenn Strange. Ever heard of him? He wasn't a cowboy, but he sure made an impact. Strange added his magic touch to Gunsmoke before riding into the sunset. His time on the show might have been short, but his legacy, it echoed through the prairies of TV history. Amanda Blake's surprise entry, the unseen twist in casting. Picture this. Polly Bond was all set to be the star, but guess what? She decided to sit this one out. That left the producers scratching their heads. But then, like a hero riding in on a horse, Amanda Blake entered the scene. She brought Miss Kitty Russell to life in a way nobody expected. Polly Bond's no-show. Imagine the scene. Polly Bond, with a family history in showbiz and a decade of Western experience, had the golden ticket to stardom. But surprise, she turned it down. The producers were left in a pickle, searching for a leading lady. Amanda Blake. Enter the star. Amanda Blake. She stepped into the Miss Kitty boots and owned it. Her performance wasn't just good, it was legendary. She added layers to Miss Kitty that made her unforgettable. Imagine if Bond had said yes. Our Gunsmoke journey might have taken a very different turn. The curtain falls. Gunsmoke's unexpected goodbye. Hold on to your hats, folks, because Gunsmoke's ride had to come to an end. But get this, it wasn't a grand farewell. It was more like a disappearing act. In 1975, without a drum roll or a spotlight, the curtain quietly closed on Gunsmoke. Shock and disbelief. Can you believe it? The actors, the heart and soul of Gunsmoke, didn't see it coming. They found out about the show's last ride not from the producers, but from trade publications. Shocking, right? James Arness, the iconic Matt Dillon, even said he felt like they were left in the dark. James Arness, not just a TV hero. Now let's talk about James Arness, the guy who didn't just play a hero on TV. He was a hero in real life too. During World War II, he wasn't fighting outlaws. He was fighting the real deal. Arness served with courage, earning honors like the Purple Heart, showing us he wasn't just acting tough. He was tough. And that's the story, folks. A surprising twist in casting, a quiet exit for a legendary show, and a hero who wore his valor both on and off the screen. Gunsmoke wasn't just a show. It was a wild, unpredictable ride.